Did you have to caution people? Did you have to say, look, it's going to take a little while. You guys have been really bad. I'm a good coach, but it's going to take a while. Or what did you have to say anything?
I never said anything about that, Andy. I never brought that up again. I mean, I told him it was going to be exciting. I might have said it's going to take a little while and everything. And then I got Ronnie Harris, and Terrence Allen. Doggone, Ronnie was a great player, but he never got to play with good enough players to take advantage of his ability. Finally, the turning point was Barry Stevens. And when we got Barry, then he helped us get Jeff Greer and Justice Thigpen and Victor Alexander. He helped us get a lot of good players. And,
talking about some urban kids that you got here from the Flint, Michigan area, rough area. When you're trying to sell Ames, Iowa, how did you sell Ames? People want to know that. I mean, how in the world did you sell Iowa State?
You didn't mention that there was a Burger King.
No, and I'll tell you, we hadn't had that yet. But let me tell you, I recruited Dawkins. And I went into his home in Chicago, and I saw it. He lived in the south side of Chicago there in the, what do you call them?
The projects.
Projects. Yep. Mm-hmm. And saw his mother. They were cooking outside and everything. I went in his place, and we were talking. I asked her how long he lived here, and she says, all her life. And I said, all your life? And she said, never been out of Cook County. Never. His mother. And she says, and by the way, where is this Iowa State? I said, oh, it's just out of here about an hour, I said.
By supersonic jet.
Yeah. I said, you can see Doc anytime.
Yeah. You're going to have to leave Cook County.
No, you have to go out the edge anyhow. But he came, and she was very nice, and we got to be good friends.
Johhny, how much of a difference can a coach make? I mean, obviously there are differences in the abilities of coaches, but I've heard you say many times, in most cases, it is about the players. You have to have the great players to have any chance to do damage in the NCAA tournament.
You can't. No coach can win without players. I don't care who he is. You have to get players, and if you get good enough ones, why, you can go a long way and everything like that. But some coaches can't. They get them and they can't do anything with them. But there are other coaches, and they get them like Krzyzewski, Knight, guys like that, man. Once they get them, they're going to be awful good with them.
Now, Bob Knight, as a lifelong friend of yours, very close friend of yours.
Yeah, good buddy.
And we all learned in the media when interviewing Bob Knight that if we could somehow mention your name in our first question, that he immediately disarmed a little bit and
then he was nice to us.
Yeah, and exhaled. Yeah, he really was. If you could throw out the name John, or
even if he had lost the game.
Yeah.
If he had lost a game, the reporters are just frozen solid, all standing around him. Nobody wants to break the ice with the first question. So we'd have to warm him up. We'd be like, well, Coach, are you going to get to see Johhny Orr since you're here in Iowa? And then he'd be all right.
Yeah. Well, I had a couple times with him when Johhny Orr didn't make any difference.
There's only so much you can do.
Oh, yeah. But, he had a defense there for sports writers, and it didn't matter who they were or anything like that. It just touched him off on different things. When he was here for our variety club, you remember, Keith, he came and everything, and all of a sudden Pete Taylor interviewed him, and he had his cameraman, I forgot his name now, but good guy. And I asked Knight if he'd come on, and we'd have a little interview. And he said, sure, let's go. Where is it? We went up there and everything like that, and doggone, we're sitting there, and I said, Pete said, who do you want me to interview first? I said, why don't you interview me and then say, this is my guest, Bobby Knight, and then talk about Knight. So Pete came off, and my boy, strong, and he said all the things that I had done, Coach of the Year a couple of times in Big Ten and all that. And then he turned over to Knight and said the same things about Knight. And all of a sudden, Knight says, who are you, man? And just hinted that. So now, the next thing I know, Pete starts again, and he says, this is Johhny Orr, and over here is Coach Bobby Knight. And Knight says, hey, man, this interview's over. A while ago, it was a great Johhny Orr and Bobby Knight. Now it's just Johhny and Bobby. This is over, boy. And he left, and just left the interview.
He's a moody guy.
Was that real, or was this all a put-on?
No, that was an interview. Out here at Marriott out there, we just played golf for the Variety Club.
But he never came back and just said, I'm kidding or I'm joking. That
No.
Wow.
And he stiffed the caddy. He stiffed his caddy that day.
Oh, man. Because I remember that time where
He must have got mad.
where you put Bob Knight up to giving WOI sports director Mark Matthew a hard time.
Oh, yeah.
That's a legendary interview.
piece of videotape, which unfortunately cannot be aired for reasons we all understand here at KXNO.
Too many cuss words in it.
But, he just wouldn't let him off the hook no matter what he asked.
I know it. He came to play us at Michigan one time, and I told the guy to make sure that they interviewed him and stopped his bus and talked to him. And he came up there, and the guy stopped the bus driver, and the bus driver, this is Indiana team. And he says, well, you can't go in here. He says, like that Knight jumps up from his thing, and boy, he raised hell with that guy, and whoa, man, he really got mad and everything, I guess. And so the guy let him in around there. And the first thing he comes into my office, he, what's going on here? And I said something to him about, you remember something when this happened? Oh, and then he was okay, he was okay when he got going, but he didn't remember what he had done to me.